Hey everybody, this is Freddie with LeviathanScuba.com. When it comes to scuba training, everybody says they're the best. How do you know it's true? I can help. We'll get to that in just a minute. So how do you get the best training possible, right? Whether you're a brand new person interested in scuba diving, getting ready to do the open water training, or whether you're already a scuba diver, maybe a little newer, looking for that next level, that next step, how do you know if the shop or the agency or the instructor is any good? We're going to get to that in just a minute. Okay? So, I'm going to start out with the agency. Does it matter which agency you go with? That's kind of a tough question to answer, really, because there's over 160 different agencies around the globe to choose from. I can't pretend to be an expert in all of those because I haven't tried most of them, right? But thank goodness the majority of all divers on Earth are trained really by the top 4, and I do know about those, okay? So, with that many agencies to choose from, it does depend a little bit kind of on where you live. Do you live in the United States? Do you live in the UK? Do you live in Europe? You're going to have different choices around the world, and yet some of them are going to be global, okay? Do I have a favorite? I do, but we're going to get to that at the end, because my favorite doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be your best choice, okay? I want to say that the majority of them are, they subscribe to global standards. There's an organization that details the standards for safety and the basics in training, and your agency you choose should subscribe to the global standards. Then you're going to get kind of an upgraded version of what's important and what's not so important perhaps. There are many agencies that violate that, and they go by the wayside pretty quickly, okay? But I did mention that some of them depend on where you live, right? For example, the BSAC, the British Scuba Aqua or Sub-Aqua Club, that is based in the UK, right? TDA is the Thailand Diving Association, right? So you can get certified under them if you live in Thailand, all right? The list does continue to change because the dive world changes. I mentioned standards have changed. When I learned to dive, the class was 16, almost 17 weeks long. Today, you can knock it out way faster than that, okay? They don't cover as much, but then they have specialties that you can add on to your training later, so you can still get a full education, okay? Also, it's kind of sad to say, but a lot of these agencies go out of business. They try to do a startup, they have a better way, and then it just doesn't work. And there's also not as many divers in the world as you might exist. It's approximately a $2 billion industry. Well, the toothpick industry is bigger, so that gives you kind of an idea. There's just not that many people out there that scuba dive, if you think about it, per 7 billion people on the planet, something like that. So less than 2% of the population, and that's just in the United States, less than 2% of the population become scuba divers. So part of the thing that affects it is, you know, there's just not as many people learning today. I'm not sure if it's, you know, the youth of today, it's not as important to them. They didn't have Jacques Cousteau to grow up on to inspire them, and they maybe didn't have Mike Nelson of Sea Hunt. And see, if you're younger, you're like, who's that? Right? Those of us old timers, we know. That's kind of what was part of my inspiration to learn how to scuba dive. I'm going to kind of quote a survey here. It's not my survey. I don't have as many far-reaching, you know, tentacles into the world of scuba diving as they do, but the Sports and Fitness Industry Association calculated the growth rate in the United States of scuba diving, and it was shocking. But for those of us in the dive industry, it was telling. It helped us understand some things that are happening. We constantly try to reach out to younger divers, whether it's children of parents that scuba dive or whether it's youth, you know. if you can start them out younger, it's going to be easier to teach them, but they also, hopefully it will stick with them longer. But this is what the survey found, okay? The exact statistic, if it's not 100% accurate, because they couldn't talk to every single scuba diver. I know the trend is, at least, because we feel it. We notice it year after year after year, those of us in the industry. But from 2015 to 2016, there was a drop between those years of 5%. So 5% less people got certified as scuba divers between those years. In 2017, it dropped 7.6% over the previous year. Not from a standard that's out there, but from the previous year. So you can see it's going down, down, down every time. 2018, 0.9% less than 2017. 2019, 4.7% less than 2018. 2020, 4.7% less. 2021, 3.4% less. 2022, 4.6% less. So you get the idea. Every single year, there are less scuba divers getting certified. That's going to affect an agency's ability to stay in business. Eventually, I'm sure it's going to affect the entire diving industry. Manufacturers won't be able to sell as much gear. Resorts aren't going to have as many scuba divers show up, and the slice of the pie gets a little smaller. So eventually some of them are going to go out of business. And it's kind of sad because it's such a wonderful sport, really. So to me, it kind of seems as if a lot of the younger divers today, they're not as interested in the sport perhaps of their parents or their grandparents. I do even tend to see a trend out there where scuba diving isn't a passionate lifetime experience. It's an experience to try, check off your list, go on to the next one. Okay, I'm a certified scuba diver and I went on a trip. Now I'm going to jump out of an airplane and be a skydiver. Oh, I'm going to go climb a mountain and become a mountain climber. Okay, just something to check off to increase the experience. Our shop, we try to build up the passion in the scuba diving, not just teach skills. Okay, you're a certified scuba diver. You're done. We don't do that. We try very hard to find out what their passions are. Find out what's important to them. Why did they want to learn to scuba dive in the first point? And, that can make a difference. So I started talking about, the agencies. If you stick to the larger global industry agencies around the world, you're going to get better standards for the most part. I'm not saying a small agency can't just knock it out of the park and do a great job, but I'm saying the bigger the agency, they have more resources. They're searching for, truthfully, dollars. They're searching for money, and they're going to try to appeal as much as they can, therefore giving a good curriculum. If their curriculum is better than the other guy, you're going to go with them. So they're going to have the resources, and they're going to try to offer you more for your money. And hopefully they're going to give you a better training than the next guy, okay? So going with some of the largest agencies. The largest by income that brings in the most money around the world is PADI. That stands for Professional Association of Diving Instructors, and they were founded in 1966. Chances are if you're in Europe or you're in North America, you're going to recognize the name PADI. They're big. For most of their history, they have been the biggest. Today, technically, they're the largest in the amount of dollars coming in, okay? They generate the most income. The largest by number of schools or resort professionals is SSI, Scuba Schools International, and they were founded in 1970. Now, I want to clarify something on this statistic because PADI might state that they have more, and it's simply because the way they calculate their opportunity sources of certification. For example, PADI does not require their instructor to be part of an organization or professional dive institute or anything like that. If you're a PADI certified instructor and you pay your dues, you can teach scuba diving out of the trunk of your car. You don't have to be tied to anybody. So each one counts as an opportunity or a source to learn to scuba dive from. Okay, whereas example, SSI requires their instructors to work through a professional dive center of some sort, whether it's a resort, a liveaboard, a school, something like that, or a dive shop. The example of that would be I have 17 instructors, and we are only counted as one source. Okay? So does that kind of make sense? I hope it does. So NAUI is the National Association of Underwater Instructors. They were one of the oldest. They were founded in 1959. That was my original certification in 1971. I was originally certified NAUI. And then when I went through the Navy, I kind of got another certification, if you will. I already had one, but they just wanted to make sure I was good, and they would use NAUI in the division that I was in. Okay? If you were part of an organization, they're not as large as far as number of dive shops and things like that. And you'll find some states, like California, for example, where there's a lot of NAUI. And then in Colorado, there's not even one. So, but they are part of larger organizations, which is kind of fun. An example would be if you were down in Houston, Texas, and you were an astronaut and you were learning to dive in NASA's Neutral Buoyancy Laboratory in Houston, you would be certified as a NAUI diver, okay? If you go take the course at Walt Disney World at the Epcot Center, right? They have a scuba course you can take. You're going to be certified under NAUI, okay? So I mentioned the U.S. Navy programs, things like that. The fourth one I'm going to discuss today just a little bit is SDI, Scuba Diving International. They were founded in 1998, okay? Now, it might seem like they weren't certified as long, but they were part of TDI, which is Technical Diving Institute. And Technical Diving Institute didn't certify as many people simply because they specialized in technical diving, deep water diving, rebreather diving, those kind of things. But they realized that there's so few of those types of divers out there, they wanted to reach out and become a little more broad as an offering agency. So SDI was born to teach the recreational diver open water diving. Okay? Now, those four train approximately 87% of all certified scuba divers in the world, globally. So, if you can find those in your area, they're a really good choice. Now, I do want to mention something. I want to clarify this. This is controversial, but I'm not afraid to go there. I'm doing this to protect you. There are numerous resorts out there. You're on vacation, you're in Cancun or Cozumel, or you're, some tropical location, and in the lobby of the resort, they have a sign that says, "Learn to scuba dive." And what do? You pay your $300-400, you go out and you're in a pool for 2 hours, and then they take you diving. Now, the reason why this is going to step on some toes is 95% of all diving tragedies come from resort-trained divers. Whoa, stop. If you're a legit agency offering a shop-trained course at a resort, you're good, okay? So for those of you that are paying attention, in a resort, you're going to have two types. You're going to have, yes, this is a shop. This is a PADI or an SSI approved shop. They're licensed through that agency. They're going to teach you the full certification course. You're going to get certified and you're going to walk away with your little card and you are a diver. Okay? Great. Love that. Fantastic. I'm not talking about that. When we talk about the 95% tragedies and we talk about resort-trained divers, we're not talking about those that are part of an agency. We're talking about those that are just going to expose you, call it a try scuba diving or something like that, but they actually take you scuba diving after you're 2 hours in a pool. Let me tell you, 2 hours in a pool, you are not a diver. I'm not stepping on toes. You might be capable, you might be comfortable, but you're not trained yet, and it would still be a very, very dangerous practice if you just said, "I'm a scuba diver," and you go off. That's why it's required to have a license. So you spent your $300 or $400, but you didn't get a license. So next time you want to go scuba diving, they won't let you because, you'd be a dangerous diver and you need a license. Okay, so I'm not talking about resort-trained agencies that are approved shops. I'm talking about resort-trained divers. So I want you to consider price. There's a couple ways to think about this. Price in the diving industry is not regulated. I can charge you anything I want. So can the liveaboard. So can the resort down in the tropical destination. So before you're choosing where you're going to go take your next class, imagine that it might be more expensive some places you go. So you want to figure that out before you go. An example of that would be a local dive shop down the street might charge you, whatever, $600 for the whole course, beginning to end. It includes rental gear, it includes all the stuff, and you come away with a license and you're good. And you go down to a destination, a nice tropical resort somewhere, and they're going to charge you $1,200. Is it the same course? Yes, if you come away with a certification, it is. Are they charged the same as that local dive shop by the agency? Yes, they are. Okay? So you could have two dive shops right next door, both the same exact agency. They both pay the same price for the course that they're going to give you. They pay the agency for it, but they can charge anything they want. So I just want you to understand that the training is most likely going to be very similar if it's the same agency, and it should be to the base regulation, standards, but they can charge anything they want. So be aware before you go and you take your class on your vacation. Okay? So any local shop in town might charge for different parts and pieces of your course. I'm going to cover that a little more in just a minute, but I want to say that each course is priced separately. So if you're looking for open water certification, there's going to be a price for that. If you're looking for nitrox to become nitrox certified, there's a price for that. If you're looking for peak performance buoyancy or perfect buoyancy, there's going to be a price for that. So to get trained in the open water is going to be different than some of the other courses. So you just know that they kind of build on each other and you have more expenses as you go along for whatever you're looking for, okay? And they can charge different again too. So if you were going to take the nitrox course, for example, one shop might offer it for $99, the next shop might offer it for $160. You can ask them, do they give you more? I mean, maybe somebody gives you a dang t-shirt says, I'm a nitrox certified scuba diver. It has more value than the guy that doesn't. So, they might find a way to market their services a little better. I also want to mention this too, that if you're looking to become, that instructor or that dive master on a boat where, you get to wear shorts and a tank top and scuba dive every day and teach people how to dive, the prices of courses vary widely between agencies when you become a professional. Also, for those of you that don't care about being a professional, know that your instructor had to go through numerous courses to become an instructor. So let's say, for example, you wanted to retire and go down to the Caribbean and work on a boat, or you just wanted to head down there for 6 months and, enjoy the sunshine. I want to be an instructor. This shop advertised instructional course, $3,000. Great, I have $3,000 in the bank, let's go do it. And all you have is your open water certification right now. Well, when you get there, they go, oh, whoa, wait a minute. You're not qualified to become an instructor. We can't teach you how to be an instructor yet. You need to go take advanced scuba diving. Oh, okay, how much is that? Boom. Okay, next, you need to take rescue. You need to be a rescue diver before you can be a professional. Oh, okay, how much is that? Okay, next you need to take first aid, AED, and oxygen. Okay, all right. Then you have to become a dive master. Then you have to train to be an assistant instructor. Now you can become an instructor, and it can take some time, and it can be quite expensive when you add it all up. And I will say this, without naming names, one of those 4 agencies is about 4 times more expensive than the other 3. Okay, so it does depend on where you train, and yet you'll come out of it with the same basic training, being able to teach, okay? And you'll have the license to do so. So, okay, here's another type of pricing. It was tricky to try to figure this out in my notes how I was going to talk to you about it, but when you respond to an ad for scuba diving, or you Google or you research online for scuba diving, you see this one shop over here that says $99 scuba course. And you see these other guys, $600 scuba course. I'm going to the $99 one, right? It's cheaper. Except, what are you going to get for your money, right? They pay more than $99 to the agency. So how can they possibly offer it for $99? I mean, I could sit here for a long time and explain to you how it's done, but let me just mention that sometimes they break the course up into numerous parts. Okay, you get to do the online training, you get to do the classroom training, you get to do the pool training, you get to do the first 2 dives of your open water dives, you get to do your last 2 dives, and they're all a different price. I mean, if they were $99 each at that point, you're up to $500, right? Then, gee, do you have any gear? Oh, you need to rent some gear? Great, that's $150 for the whole course for the BCD. Oh, you need a regulator? Great. Okay, that's another $100 for the whole course. You see what I'm saying? So I'm just saying, be aware as you go in. That coupon or that introductory price, sometimes it's not a deal. There, in our area, it was especially troubling to me because I felt a little bit like it's bait and switch. Because I would have people confess to me that they got trained somewhere else. And I go, okay. And they responded to an ad, and they thought it was going to be really, really cheap. I already knew that my price when they were finished was about $20 less than that other place. But they got a lot of divers to show up because divers thought that they could get certified for this tiny little number. But when it was all said and done with, they paid more than they would have if they came to our shop, okay? You just have to beware when you're out there researching, trying to figure out, right? There are even some shops that say, okay, we'll teach you for this, but you have to buy something. You have to buy your gear with us, or we require you have to buy your mask, fins, snorkel, blah, 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 booties, wetsuit, something like that. And that can drive the price up, but then legitimately they can offer you the course a little less because they're going to throw in some of the profit from the item they sold, okay? I'm also going to say that something that's kind of important, it's not the easiest part to research ahead of time, but I'm going to help you with that in a little bit. The standards or the requirements that the actual dive shop has of the student can vary. The example of this is one of the agencies requires a full mask clear, okay? A full flooded mask clear. What that means is you go underwater, you take the mask off, you put it back on your face, and you get the water out of it, all while staying underwater, okay? It's a magic trick. We learn and we do it all the time. Well, some only require a partially flooded mask. You just tilt your mask, let some water in, and then you clear it. Okay, if you can clear, you know how to do it. But the reason they do that is because some people that's a very nervous part of learning how to do your basic training. You don't want to take your mask off. You don't want to take it off underwater. That's how people drowned. We have to teach you though, because it's not if, it's when that mask is coming off. Somebody's going to turn, bump your face, your mask is going to go on the side, or it's going to get knocked off or something. And it can be dangerous if you don't know how to do it properly. So one shop says, don't worry, stop worrying, don't cry, it's okay. Just do it once for me and you pass, you're done. Just do it once and you're done. To me, personally, that may be the standard, and that's all that's required. But I'm going to go out there and say that's dangerous. Why is it dangerous? Okay, you did it 8 months ago when you got your open water training. Now you're on vacation. You're 80 feet down at the bottom, and your mask goes around the side. You're not comfortable. Not if you only did it once and it was just a partial flood, right? You're not comfortable. So you need to be comfortable with that, because that happens every dive trip I go on. Somebody's mask comes off or wraps around their head or something strange like that, right? Or even keeps constantly leaking. You need to be proficient at that. So I say the words, that might get somebody killed one day, and I'm not going to go there. So if the standard is a partial flood, some of the agencies require to do a full flood. If you can do a full flood, clear your mask, you can do a partial. So why do you have to do both, right? Just do the full. I get it. If you're the one in my pool that has a problem and you're scared to death about that, I'm going to go slow. I'm going to be gentle, and I'm going to love you through it. But I'm not going to stop until you're comfortable. We've never lost a diver, not ever. And I want to make sure you're comfortable. If you're freaked out, then that's not a good scenario. You need to be comfortable with it, okay, and practice it. So here's another one that I think is a dangerous trend. With getting these courses shorter and less, I think they're getting a little more dangerous. The youth of today are fantastic on their cell phones. They're great with computers, so far much better than me, and maybe the people of my age. But you can't learn to scuba dive on your cell phone. Okay, I said it. Can you? Sure, you can look at the pictures to recognize what a BCD looks like. You can read the text to describe what it's like to do this or that. So a lot of them are online. Ours are online, but just the introductory part, where you're learning the terminology, you're learning the laws, you're learning the practices. But then we're going to get in the pool and do it with you. I'm going to say this, that there is, Patty has gone to this online model. Personally, I think it's because the dive shop doesn't make any money out of it and Patty does. Okay, that's my opinion. They still have to do the open water dive with an instructor, but they never have to get in a pool with a live body. They can learn advanced course training online only. You're an open water diver. You have 4 dives under your belt. You get ready to take your advanced course. You can start tomorrow. Are you an advanced diver yet? No. You can start tomorrow. Okay, they have a requirement. You have to have at least 25 dives under your belt to be recognized and advanced, but you can start with dive 5. You can finish the training by dive 8 on your open water, and you can learn it all online. And then, once you get to 25 dives, you're an advanced diver. I'm just here to tell you, personally, learning completely on your cell phone is not going to be the best way. You need to get in the pool with a live body. I want to look at your face. I want to watch your eyes. I want to see if you're afraid. I want to see if you're nervous. I want to help you when you're nervous. I want to reach out and calm you. I can take anybody and make them comfortable. I know I have people all the time and they say, no, my wife couldn't do it, or my husband couldn't do it. He was too freaked out. Well, guess what? There's little parts and pieces of our being human being that are instinct. Don't breathe underwater. We're all going to be nervous at some point. So guess what? Let's just go slow. Let's stand up in 2 feet of water, 3 feet of water. Let's bend over, put our face underwater. Let's go slow until it's comfortable, right? We can do it. We can get you there. But you can't do that. You can't do that on a cell phone. Okay? So, now I'm going to tell you the most important part of your training. It's not the agency. It's actually not the dive shop. It's not whether you're in the ocean or you're in fresh water. It's your instructor, okay? You can be part of the #1 agency on planet Earth, and if you get a terrible instructor, your experience is going to be terrible. You could be in the worst agency in the world, right, with the bare minimum standards, but if you get a fantastic instructor, you absolutely are going to have a much better experience, okay? And, I can't tell you what it takes to be a good instructor. We all know, right? Somebody that really cares, maybe they have a passion for it, they spend more time with you. There's different kinds of instructors. I have instructors that are like drill sergeants. I have other instructors that are like teddy bears, okay? So we try to match them with the right kind of personality and that sort of a thing. But so I'll give you an example. I'm 63 years old right now at the filming of this video, and my instructor's name was Roger E. Thornton. Roger, if you're out there, buddy, I'd love to contact with you. But that was in 1971. I was 11 years old. So he's probably dead now. I hope not. But Roger E. Thornton, how do I know that? Because the instructor makes a difference. They develop relationships with their students. They teach you. You're learning something brand new, totally foreign to the human experience, right? You're breathing underwater, and they're taking you through it, and they can make you comfortable, and they can help you do it. So it is a very, very important part of your journey, and it's difficult to research to find the instructor. It's easier to find that shop down the street, but how can you perhaps increase your chances? it could be the most important part of your training of all. I think it is. So some shops, they kind of care about numbers only. There's not a lot of money in the dive industry. There's not. And so some of those shops, they need to teach in volume. They need to run the numbers through their shop. I'm not saying they can't do that and be quality education at the same time. I think they can, but they commonly pay their instructors less. They also train their instructors that volume is the key, right, to making money, both for the instructor and the shop. Therefore, the instructor often teaches in a more rapid manner and perhaps even less personally, okay? So I recommend searching online. Look at student reviews if they have them. Look at shop reviews if they have them. Try to make up your mind ahead of time before going in. If you know somebody that's been trained through that shop, recommendations are fantastic. I like that because then somebody you know tells you why they liked that particular instructor or that particular shop. Okay? Don't be afraid to ask questions. Go into the shop and interview them. I mean, it might not be the easiest thing if you wanted to interview the instructor because, frankly, they're not at the shop. They have other jobs, too. Sometimes they might be. Sometimes they might not. But you can still inquire. You can still ask questions of the shop, right? Ask them about their training. Ask them about the methods, the timing, their standards, right? Just generally, you're going to get a feel for if they really care or not, okay? So if you're looking for a specialty course, you're already a diver, you're looking for somebody to teach you nitrox or buoyancy or dry suit or full face mask or something fun like that, or photography, they have to be trained in that specialty. You can't just have, at least with these bigger agencies. In other countries, you get your license to teach scuba, you can teach all things scuba, whatever somebody wants to learn, go ahead. But in reality, for the larger ones like SSI, PADI, NAUI, if you want to learn nitrox, that particular scuba instructor was originally certified to be a scuba instructor. He might not be certified to teach you nitrox until he takes their training course or buoyancy or whatever the course, okay? So make sure that your instructor can teach the specialty that you're after, right? So this is another kind of point of contention a little bit. I want you to become aware. You know somebody that teaches scuba diving? Okay. I can't say whether they're good or not. I don't know. There is no place in the world where they all have to register and they all have to be rated. So some agencies allow their instructors to be totally independent. They can work out of their trunk of their car, out of their garage, okay? And they can certify you and you can become a scuba diver. So if Uncle Ed can teach you how to scuba dive and he's going to be cheaper than the shop down the road, great, go for it, right? Maybe not. I'm just saying, be aware. Oftentimes an independent, they're doing it as a side job. They don't have 34 sets of rental gear in all the different sizes sitting on a rack somewhere. They don't have 25 different scuba tanks. Their gear might be ancient. It might be old and serviced poorly. I'm not trying to dog those independent instructors. I want you to know that. I'm simply offering you advice on things to look for to make sure that your instructor is top-notch, that really cares about what they're doing, right? If their wetsuits are faded and shredded, they're no good anymore, okay? They're just not. If they've been in the pool 100 times and they're all gray and they started out black, I'm just saying, okay? Did they service their gear properly? Do they pay to get it serviced? Are they qualified to service gear themselves? They might just do it, but they're not certified to do it, okay? So I'm just saying, when you look at an independent instructor, there might be an opportunity to question, okay? Just be aware and go in eyes wide open. If they're part of an agency that requires them to be part of a professional organization, that's part of the reason why, for example, SSI, their instructors have to be part of a professional dive organization, whether it's a shop, a resort, or a school. And they do it because there are standards, there's accountability. They don't have to have the overhead to have all the tanks and the gear themselves. They can use the shops, okay? So, I personally have been certified under NAUI, SSI, and PADI, and the Navy, okay? So You can have multiple certifications, and that's important to know because if you were a PADI certified open water diver, but you want to go take the rescue course by SSI, knock yourself out. They count. Because they're part of global standards, we can reasonably assume that you learned proper techniques under PADI when you cross over and you're going to do an SSI course. And you can go back and forth, back and forth. It doesn't matter. That's why I can hold multiple certifications and multiple specialties from different agencies. I'm considered trained in these different specialties. Doesn't matter which one I got it from because they all kind of, mesh with each other and they all have basically the same kind of standards, okay? So, so many people ask me, I hesitate to go here. So I'm going to basically say right now, the video's over. The gossip that I get into next is not part of the video. So you can hang up, go away, shut it off, enjoy. You learned what we had to teach you. Now I'm going to go in a little bit of a controversial area. I'm going to say that this is Freddie's opinion. This is from my heart. Some of those agencies care more about money and numbers than they do quality of education. They go with some of the more basic standards and they don't go above and beyond. My shop was one of the premier dive shops in Colorado, and 23 years we were PADI. I said were. PADI lost a huge number of their dive centers around the world when they made some bad decisions, in my opinion. Okay? They decided as a company or a corporation that they were going to try to sell directly to the public a lot of their services, from travel to training to things like that. Like I mentioned, an advanced diver course, you can go online, you can go to PADI, you can buy the advanced diver course and you can learn to be an advanced diver. You don't have to go through a dive shop. Now they will send you to some instructor somewhere that can do the open water dive for you in your area, okay? Here's the thing, in the dive world, it's a multifaceted business. I have education, I have service, gear service, I have travel, right? And then we have retail. Take any one of those four away and my dive shop is gone. There's just not enough money in the business. Okay? Take any one of those four away and it's gone. So when PADI decided to market all of the divers that we signed up, they came through our shop, through our marketing efforts, through our relationships. If we give great customer service and you found us because of that, I feel like we earned it. We did the right thing. But now PADI gets your name, your phone number, your address, as do all the agencies, right? But what did PADI start doing? They started sending you beautiful little magazines that says, come travel with us. Don't go through the dive shop, go through us, okay? And other things too. The straw that really broke the camel's back was when they started training certain things like advanced. I had people that didn't even know how to put a wetsuit on properly, and they were going to be an advanced diver. I was pissed at whoever my instructor was that taught them until I found out, no, they learned online and they never did even speak to an instructor. What? I called PADI to see if that was true. Yes, it was true. I'm sorry to say. Okay? So I'm just being truthful. I know PADI's going to hate this. And, again, you can have a shop that teaches PADI and they can have a great instructor and they can do you right. It can be a fantastic experience. But we switched over and I could go with any shop in the world. Or any agency in the world. And we did. We researched European, we researched, all of the majors and all that kind of stuff. And we ended up going with SSI. So they're probably going to love that. But I'm not even loyal to SSI necessarily either. If they start, butting heads with the dive shops and doing the wrong thing by the customer, I'm going to leave them too. Okay? I want to go with who gives the best training, gives you the most comfort, safety, confidence, and you come away a good quality scuba diver. That's all I want. If they can do it, I'm in. But we chose SSI after we did a research and tried to figure out what was going to be the best for our student. Okay? And that's who we went with. And our shop has been that way now for about 6 years. And we're very pleased. And some of the side effects were because of the differences in training. We had the same instructors. All of a sudden, we were noticing our students had better buoyancy right out of the chute. So that's what we did, okay? I hope this has helped. I don't mean to step on toes, but I'm always going to be honest. I'm always going to be, I don't care about controversy if it helps you, and that's my goal. Okay? So would you do me a favor? It costs you nothing. Simply like it down there. For some reason, our algorithm is all screwed up. We should have millions of likes, and I don't think it's because of the content. People, they applaud it all the time. So do me a favor, just takes 1 second. Just hit a like button for me, would you? And if you want to know when the next video comes out, hit subscribe. Make it a great day. Remember, it's not what happens to you, it's what happens with you. I hope that you've enjoyed this video in some way and that it's helped you. That's our goal. If you did, please hit the like button below. And if you'd like to be notified when the next one comes out, just hit subscribe. Make it an awesome day.